And welcome back to Week at Beyond the Trailer Park. And of course, joining me as usual are my lovely co-hosts, starting with Beth. I know how you're doing, but how's it going over there in Pennsylvania otherwise? And she's frozen. All right.
That's what she's doing.
Oh, there she is. Well, she was frozen there for a second.
Yeah, my internet's being wonky, so.
Yeah.
All is good. I'm still breathing, so we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, I will let folks know you were slightly under the weather, so if you drop off, that's why. But she's managed to make it here, so we'll make the best of it. And, of course, all the way from Savannah, the mouth of the South, Miss Ashley.
Hey, y'all.
I heard Bobby call her that lots of times.
Yes.
And how hot is it down there?
Well, last week we had a bad rainstorm and had no water. Well, this week we have no rainstorm and it's humid and it's unbearable. So we go from one extreme to the other.
But nothing's actually broken this time, right?
No, knock on wood.
Okay.
The equipment's working. We got lights. We got water. I've got liquor, so we're good.
All right. And I noticed just as we talked about potential equipment issue, Bobby shut the door behind you. And I, unfortunately, do not have any liquor because hubby is actually out. Yeah, I know. I haven't had any since, well, I had some at dinner last night, but that was out. It wasn't at home. So I think he's out at the liquor store because I gave him puppy eyes when he came home. I was like, I don't have any wine. So hopefully he's out buying me booze, but it'll probably be room temperature. So I'm probably out of luck for the show. But, oh, wow. Yeah, you want to send me a traveler? That'd be good. Except they don't have those here. For those of you who aren't familiar with Savannah and Savannah culture, you're allowed to walk around the streets with your booze in Savannah. So everybody has nice red Solo cups at the bars called travelers. Order your drink, take it on the road with you. I like this place.
We are walking and drinking, but we don't condone drinking and driving.
This is true. Walking is fine. If you fall down, you're only hurting yourself.
Right, you're on your own.
Yes. Hopefully somebody will pick you up and send you somewhere.
Well, we'll ask if you're okay first, and then we'll laugh at you.
Okay. Well, this is good. So, and joining us from an actual trailer park down in the other part of the South is Tucker. How you doing there, Tucker?
Alrighty, and Fuzznuts is utterly content.
Aw, you want to move them up just a little bit? Our little faces are in the way there. There's Professor Fuzznuts. Hello. Yay.
That's what I want. I want a cat like that.
Well, except that Fuzznuts never leaves, ever.
He does not like going outside, I can tell you that.
No, actually, Callie doesn't like that either. She, I'll put a harness on her and go out in the balcony, and she will sit and cry at the door to come back inside.
He'll ride around on my shoulder hollering the entire time if I try and take him outside. So.
Aww.
Sounds like my old cat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bob he'll eat grass because it's the only time he gets to eat something that wasn't at exactly 6 o'clock, and then he'll cry to come inside. But I've got one that likes it. She'd sit out there all damn day if I let her. But so we don't have anything formal planned for this evening. I figured it's just a trailer park extravaganza, and who plans anything in a fucking trailer park, right?
If we did, we wouldn't live in one.
That's right. Very true. But Tucker, you do have your own podcast called Atheist in the Trailer Park. So
good. So I'm not coming unprepared.
Nope, you're not. So Tucker, How long have you been doing your podcast?
I just passed my 1-year anniversary.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations for sure. Well, you can consider this kind of your anniversary show then. Oh, that's really awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and, were you religious? And if so, what flavor and how you came to be doing what you're doing? Because not everybody might know who you are and such.
Well, I was raised Lutheran, and like many an atheist, I lost my religion while I was in church.
Best place to go for it.
I was. They were doing the Sermon on the Mount as the Bible reading, and they got to talking about divorce. And at the time, my girlfriend's parents were getting a divorce, and her father was abusive. And this was back in the dark ages, well before O.J. had killed his wife, so there were no domestic abuse laws, really.
Right.
And, Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount says, if you divorce somebody, you're forcing them to commit adultery. And I was like, now, this doesn't make any sense, because there's no way in hell that her father, you couldn't reason with the man to explain to him that, being abusive was a bad thing. So anybody who says that, well, they should stay married is just not rational. And then they read the part where, if you look at a woman with lust in your eye or whatever, you've committed adultery. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. We're wired to find people attractive, and our thoughts are going to run to sex, so we can, be fruitful and multiply. And at that point, I'm like, obviously, this is garbage, because we don't believe this. As Lutherans, we accepted divorce and things like that. So I pretty much quit being a believer at that. And then I was never really out as an atheist or anything like that. But being forced to work a menial job, that allowed me to listen to podcasts. I started to listen to a lot of atheist podcasts, and there was one where they would talk about things, and it was stuff that I was familiar with, and the hosts just, didn't really seem to get the subject they were talking about. And I sent them an email one time saying, hey, you're missing the issue here. And they were like, whatever, we really don't care. It's just something for us to talk about. And that's when I started pounding my head on the table, because I realized, it doesn't cost anything to do a podcast, really. It's not terribly expensive, so I started doing my own.
Cool. Yeah, and it's a good show, by the way.
Thank you.
What I like, of course, you cover current events and that kind of stuff, but what you're doing that's kind of unique is that on alternate episodes, you're reading a book to everyone. And not just any book, it's kind of a neat book. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's Bible myths and their parallels in other religions, written by T.W. Doane in the late 1800s. And he does a highly detailed analysis of Christianity and other religions that, strangely enough, have exactly the same stories in them, almost as if Christianity copied from them, since those other religions are so much older than Christianity. And
funny how that works.
Yeah, I mean, he does, in the beginning of the book, he does talk about, the Old Testament and how, well, this story was copied from this Greek myth, or this story was copied from this Babylonian myth. And, as time has gone by, he, more and more scholars seem to agree with the kinds of things that he was saying, and it's rather remarkable that somebody in the late 1800s was saying all this stuff.
Absolutely. So, do you know much about like the history of the book? Was it well received, or did he get a lot of flack over it?
There's literally very little about the book at all out there, or the author. I mean, his name was I think it was Thomas Wilson Doan. It's Thomas
Okay.
something. I don't remember what the W was. But like, there's not really a Wikipedia entry on him, and there doesn't seem to be much on the book. The years ago, I got a printed edition of it, and the only place you could find it at that time was from an underground book publisher who had a photocopy of one of the original texts that they were, sending out.
Geez. Wow, a photocopy.
Yeah.
That's kind of sketchy. I remember doing that in university when I was too cheap to buy a textbook.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, everything adds up.
Yep. Yeah. What was that, Ashley?
Maybe that's the reason why it was photocopied.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because it's such you'd think at that time it would be really controversial. I just have to wonder if maybe it didn't get a lot of exposure at the time. But then how did you hear about it? Because I'd never heard of the book before I talked to you about it.
Well, ages ago, there was this great underground book publisher called Lumpanics Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
They had all of the kinds of crazy stuff that, now you can only find on the internet. But this was, in the dark ages before the internet, in the late 80s, early 90s, and they had a copy of it, and, having more or less just come into atheism a few years before that, I was like, ooh, this looks really, gritty and nasty, and then I got it, and it's like, wow, this is a textbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of, have you ever heard about Truth About Jesus? Jesus, Is He a Myth? By, what's the name on it? Can't read my own notes. Magasarian. That's another one from. Yeah, it's another one from like the 1800s. And of course, Varieties of Religion by William James.
Yeah.
And that gets into religious experiences. Those are two that. Well, the William James book is a little bit more well known, but the Mangarian one, it sounds like the one you're reading.
Right. Well, it's fascinating stuff, and for those of you who may not know, I did a couple of readings of the book with Tucker, the chapter on Buddha, which, I didn't know anything, and the book, by the way, is available on Project Gutenberg, so if you're curious, you can go there and download it and get it there, and I open it, and it looks like a photocopy when you get it.
Yeah.
And it's some parts are awfully hard to read, but it's very intriguing, and I saw some stuff that I'd never heard of before, which is funny because I'm my husband's a Buddhist, so, and Ashley was a Buddhist once upon a time. Did you guys ever hear anything about parallels with Jesus, or did they not care about that where you learned?
Not that I'm aware of. No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, because it made a lot of claims like Buddha's mother had a name that was similar to Mary that kind of meant Mary, and Buddha was immaculately conceived, and the one that got me laughing was apparently both babies could talk when they were like newborns and shit, and I'm like, right. Somebody's
was the Buddha was born out the side of his mother.
Yes, yes.
Go figure. I mean,
that sounds like a cesarean to me, but
yeah, that's what that's one of the things that got me starting to question Buddhism. I'm like, really? Y'all made it sound like the very mythical thing. Oh, the baby was born out the side, and I'm thinking, okay, sounds like a cesarean to me.
Yep. Nothing miraculous. Well, I mean, in those days, if the mother lived, it would be kind of miraculous,
yeah.
but nothing, otherworldly about it. That's for damn sure.
Right.
Yeah. What else was there? Oh, talking about when Buddha was a child, he was like super smart and could best all the scholars and all that shit. Like, it really read like a parallel of Jesus, which I didn't know. Kind of freaky.
And that's really the only thing I ever heard it ever compared to was that Jesus was a bodhisattva. That's the only thing I really ever heard of it called.
Right. And for those of us who aren't super well versed on Buddhism, what's a bodhisattva?
Why were you going to ask me that? Oh.
That's what happens when you use big words in the trailer park.
I don't understand this fancy talk.
Yep.
Hold on, I gotta go get my book. His name's Bobby.
You need like one of those bells like they have at Biltmore, for.
The best way as I can describe it is it's just right before they're about to reach their total enlightenment, I guess, before they become a Buddha. They haven't exactly reached the full enlightenment, and they're still. But yeah, I really need Bobby in on that.
All right. Well,
I didn't get too far, but I started seeing bullshit before we got the whole what the true meaning of was and everything, so I stopped there.
Okay. Yeah, see, I've been to a couple of New Year's Eve Buddhist ceremonies with the husband, and they kind of lost me when they started wishing Happy New Year to, like, the trees and the animals, and I was like, okay, where's the door? Because some of it was kind of cool. It was like, write down something from the past year that was negative, and then everybody would go up and put the negative item in a give it to one of the monks, and they would burn it and all of that, and it was like symbolic of getting rid of the negativity and all, and that was kind of cool. I can see the benefit to that. But yeah, Happy New Year to the trees, no, sorry.
Yeah, or we had a friend of ours that was a monk in Tibet, and he became a refugee and everything, and he came and visited us at our house, and our dog had fleas. Well, he thoroughly believed in you did not kill the fleas.
Wow.
So he took a Coke bottle and a comb and took the dog outside. Now, we had a Great Dane, and he would sit there and take the comb and brush the fleas into the Coke bottle.
And what the hell was he going to do with the Coke bottle fleas?
Go release them back in my backyard, I guess.
So somebody else's dog can catch them then, right?
Because they didn't believe in, the Bible says thou shalt not kill. Well, in Buddhism, thou shalt not kill anything.
Mm-hmm. So what did he eat? Because you have to kill the plants, even if you're a vegetarian.
Well, it's okay if they eat plants, and some of them did eat meat, as long as they didn't do the killing.
Oh.
Yeah. And the Buddha is supposedly has died because he ate bad pork.
Right. Yep. He was supposedly poisoned.
Yeah.
So they don't eat pork either?
No, they do. But I mean, the tradition is that he would beg for meals, and somebody gave him pork that was old, and he got trichinosis or something like that and died from it.
Right.
Okay. Wouldn't you think you'd be... I mean, I'm not a big meat eater, but I'd be pretty able to tell when it had gone off, I would think. I don't know.
Well, trichinosis is a parasite-based disease, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong on this. But it did kill Mozart, they think. So.
Yeah, it's from undercooked pork. If you don't cook the pork long enough.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, well, see, I don't cook, so. Well, I take that back. I'm really good with anything out of a bag, box, or can.
And a microwave?
Yep, microwave, toaster oven. I love my toaster oven, let me tell you. Anything out of a freezer. Yeah,
I should have been like you the last 4 days.
Yeah.
Out of a box.
Yeah.
Good.
I know. She's telling me she's trying to bone a chicken last night with one eye. Sorry,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Sorry, that was debone the chicken. See, I told you I don't cook.
You know
I
the
told you
difference
I don't.
between kinky and perverted is, don't you? Kinky
Yeah.
is you use the feather. Perverted is you use the whole chicken.
Hey, Beth,
Ooh.
you do know they
Ooh.
arrested a man in Arizona who lived in Pennsylvania that flew.
Yes, I saw that.
I
I'm
saw
like,
that.
what?
So,
The fuck? Now you-
so he was reading Ezekiel, huh?
That's the first thing I thought of. I thought,
Now
oh
you
my God,
guys
he's
know
reading
why
the
I
Bible.
call it Pennsyltucky.
Pennsylvania. Because
That
they go,
is why.
they go up there for their nookie, huh?
Oh my god! I saw it and I couldn't read the whole article, but I was like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Yes.
That reminds me. So when I was at Pride a couple of weeks ago, I got a new water bottle that Ashley had been wanting me to use, but I saved it for a less cerebral show. But yeah, so this is my new water bottle.
It scared Fuzznuts.
And I know Tech is watching and High Tech, yeah, because I kind of was showing it off during the last Holy Crap show, but after the show because it was one of the PG-13 shows. But yeah, Tech got to see this the other day. But.
Okay, for our people that might be listening, she is holding probably the size of the Ezekiel donkey. And it's
a pink penis shaped water bottle, complete with testicles, I might add.
Wait a minute,
And-
what does the straw go in?
Oh, there's no straw. Tucker, you might want to avert your gaze here. Because
I had a gay roommate. Believe me, I've seen one.
well, this made Tech really uncomfortable, and no, it was Chris. It was Chris on Holy Crap. He made very uncomfortable when I started twisting the end around. But no, that
It's just like circumcision.
They
kind of, yeah. Or as the joke was at the time, what did the leper say to the prostitute? You can keep the tip. But yeah, it just goes on top like that, and yeah. So
And it comes with its own cock ring too, doesn't it?
it does. It does. There's a lanyard, and the lanyard. Let me just. Yeah. See, this is like trying to get the tip back. Oh, there we go. So the lanyard actually affixes to. It affixes with a lovely cock ring that slips over the whole thing, and it's rather authentic, actually. And the funny thing is, I originally saw one of these on a Jacqueline Glenn video that she had done where she had gone, and I can't remember the city, but I think it was out in LA or somewhere out that way. She had gone to visit a friend, and they knew that the Westboro Baptist Church was protesting. So she and her friend got in the car and went and followed the Westboro Baptist fucks around for a day. And her friend had one of these and it was a hot day and kept saying, "Hey, you guys look thirsty. Are you sure you wouldn't want some water?" and you should have seen the look on Shirley Phelps' face. Wow. So when I saw somebody walking around with this at Pride, I was like, oh shit, I gotta have one of those. So if the Westboro Baptist fucks ever come to Canada, I got your water.
I think I just read last night that they're not allowed into Canada. That's
Oh,
one of the-
damn.
That's one of the countries they're banned from, I believe.
Damn it.
Like
well,
it's hard to sneak across the border.
Well, they caught Peter LaBarbiera a couple months ago, although they let him go. Dumb idiots. They should have kept him
Yep.
there, but
Yep. Oh, and Tax says, in reference to my water bottle, you're not supposed to stick your finger in there. Hi, Tack. Oh, look. Look. He's come with the vino and a towel with a kitty on it and everything.
Look, now she can fill her.
Now I just need a glass. Oh, they want me to put it in the penis bottle.
Yes. Look.
I think I'll go with a wine glass because that thing tends to dribble.
Prostate issues.
It does.
It happens to all of us eventually.
Or
Can I point out that this is a little bit of TMI for me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Beth. Well, my friend Greg that was with us, he was lamenting that they didn't have any breast bottles because he would have really liked a pair of those, but, you know.
Now that I could have gone for.
Yep. I don't know how they would do it with a vagina. I don't think that would. Well,
No.
I can think of a few ways.
Yeah? Okay. So Tucker will come up with some ideas for that later, I guess.
Well, I mean, you know, it would dispel the myth of the clitoris. Let's just put it that way.
Very true. Okay.
It would be a good training tool for men.
Or ladies, depending.
Well,
Yeah.
I think women instinctively have an idea about that, whereas
Well,
guys
that
are
could
just
be.
pretty clueless.
It could be, you know, green ladies. I don't know. That they're not, you know, trying it out for the first time. I don't know, but but training tool. I like the way you think. There you go.
Oh, good Lord.
Beth is like, why did I get up for this?
Now, I do want to point out it was kind of ironic that he bought you some fluid for your penis with a towel just in case it dribbles.
Yeah, and
Just saying.
I'm gonna start drinking it out of this bottle in a minute. I hear him coming back with a glass, so I might be good. Oh shit!
I can come back with another bottle.
Could be.
Send one for me, please.
I'll
I
ask him.
might
Well,
need it by the end of the night.
he knows where you live. I don't know.
True. You're
Come back here.
just scary.
Yes, it is. We know where you live. So does my friend Greg, actually. So.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, about that bottle. Where's my? Oh, here we go. We have goblet. Thank you. All right, now we're happening. Glug, glug, glug.
Holy shit.
I love the sound effect.
You should have recorded it.
In
I
Vino
am.
Veritas.
I am recording. You know, somebody forgot to tell me to hit the button, but I remembered during the intro, so I have to
I'm lucky
splice.
I know who I am at this point.
I know. It's okay. I can splice in the intro after we're done. It's all right. It works. Oh, goodness. So aside from people traveling to Pennsylvania to have sex with horses, what else have we been up to
They
lately?
left Pennsylvania to go
Oh,
to Arizona.
oh, it's Arizona where the good horses are. Okay.
Right.
Oh, okay.
There's no good-sized horses in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
That's shocking because that's Amish country.
Right. Good point. Shit.
It all depends on what part of PA he was from. If he was
Yeah,
closer,
true.
Lancaster is primarily known as being Amish country. We have, like where I'm at, I'm in North Central. It's primarily Mennonite with some Amish.
Right.
We
And
Go
the
for
difference between the Mennonites and the Amish is the Mennonites will drive their cars to the strip clubs.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
the Mennonites aren't quite as strict. Well, it depends on which sect of Amish you are.
Yeah.
There's the Old Order, and they will not use any means of technology. And then there's the Reformed that
Right.
are a little bit more. They'll have people drive them somewhere, whereas Old Order will not.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Well, first of all, we only saw one Amish dude in a buggy the entire time we were in Pennsylvania. One guy. But I actually... What's that?
I was gonna say you probably weren't. Well, if you left from here, you went towards Lock Haven. You probably didn't go far enough.
Yeah,
We didn't go far enough east.
Yeah. Well, and I actually live in Mennonite country here. We have a relatively high concentration of Mennonites here. We're what they call a twin city, Kitchener-Waterloo. It's basically the same city, and you'll be driving down the street and like, oh look, I'm in Waterloo now, kind of thing. But it's fucking stupid. They still have 2 municipalities and all that jazz, but it's big. It's small enough you could easily do with one, but whatever.
Well,
but,
there's like, what, 12 people in Canada?
I think maybe 24 or something like that.
yeah, but you inflicted Celine Dion and Justin Bieber on us, so that cuts the number down.
Oh, and don't forget Nickelback.
They inflicted somebody else on us too, and they can keep his ass up there.
Yeah, Ted Cruz.
No, his ass is not welcome back because he renounced his citizenship. So sorry, he's all yours.
What about the other one?
Oh, Cy 10, yeah.
You made his ass.
Yeah, we still have him, but he really likes Eric Hovind and Kent Hovind, so maybe he'll move now that old Dr. Dino's out of jail.
You saw that picture of them in the van with Duggar, didn't you?
I know.
Okay, here's a question for you.
Yes.
Jim Bob was wearing a seatbelt, so I'm assuming he was sitting in the front seat. How was Kent Hovind driving? Because when you get out of prison, you do not have your license. He was in the driver's seat.
No, some passenger vans have seat belts in the passenger seats as well.
Second row?
Yeah. The one we rode in at Reason Con was like that.
Oh, right, the one that went to the picnic, yeah.
Yeah.
The picnic that I didn't go to.
I was curious about that because one of my young friends just got out of prison recently, and he can't drive because they revoked his license. But it really looked like Hovind was sitting, and as you said, it could be the passenger, like he was sitting in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not the kind of people who would allow a silly thing like the law to stop them from doing what they want.
I mean, if you can steal money for Jesus, Jesus take the wheel too.
Yeah, because God told him he ain't supposed to pay no taxes.
That's right.
You can get pulled over and say, well, Jesus was driving. I promise he was.
Yeah.
that turned out well for that guy in, Indiana or Illinois, where the lady said Jesus told her to let him take the wheel, and then she promptly ran over the motorcycle.
I know. Oh, yeah, that poor bugger. And although, what do you want to bet that he's like a Christian or something and prayed to God to get...
He was.
Oh, no.
There's, in one of the articles, he was saying, well, Lord, if this is how you want to take me out, then take me out. And it's like, how can, why would God pick a really painful thing like road rash to kill you with if he needed to take you home? Why not just, snap his fingers and, vacuum you up or whatever it is that God does to take you home?
Could you imagine? It's like, oh, you're a widow. What happened to your husband? Well, he was run over by Jesus.
And if Jesus hadn't crossed over the border illegally, my husband would still be alive today.
Yeah. He was on his way to, a day job.
Yeah.
He had some drywall to do.
You heard about the Jews that wanted to protest gay marriage, but were afraid that by being out there holding signs up, it would cause problems with their the youth in the synagogue actually encountering gay people, so they hired Mexican day laborers to go protest for them.
Oh shit! Oh no, that's a special kind of brutal, stupid. I see the Bobby back there. Hello, Bobby.
That was the Bobby. Say hey,
Howdy,
Bobby.
Hi, Bobby. He's kind of like Arno. You only see him from the shoulders down.
Bye, Bobby.
When I was
there
a kid,
he is.
when I was a kid, there was this children's show, and I've never been able to find out the name of it, but it was about this cartoonist who, he lived in this apartment, and they would have this cartoon about these kids that were Muppets. He would walk along the street and talk to them. They'd poke their head out of the basement apartment that they lived in.
Right.
And he was talking about one day he's sitting there at his drawing board and he leans over and he says, whatever the kids' names were, have never seen their parents. All they see, their parents threw them in the basements when they were little, and all they ever see is their parents' legs as they throw food down the stairs to them.
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
No.
What was the name of that?
I have no idea. I saw it a couple of times when I was a kid, and I've never seen it since. But it's one of those things that you don't think anything about it when you're a kid, but when you grow up, you're like, what the hell were they thinking?
Oh, it's totally normal that there are kids in the world that are locked in the basement.
Right.
Parents feared the defects would get called on them.
Wow. Have you ever tried to Google it? That seems like something
That's what I'm doing right now.
I have tried. I have done. I've gone to message boards that specialize in television shows,
Really?
and I've asked, and nobody has seen it. I mean, of course, it's been a number of years since I've thought to ask about it, but
Right.
Still, every time I've tried, I've never gotten any results.
That seems like some pretty warped shit.
Yeah. It's like, that explains why I'm so weird.
The only thing more warped than that shit is, like, Bible stories for children.
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, of course, they kind of whitewash that shit, too, but still. Like, I remember reading about the flood and all of that and kind of going, aren't those people, like, dead? Well, that's okay, because God did it, and they'll be fine, kind of thing. And it's like, now focus on all the animals in the ark and forget about all the dead people. Like, okay.
All the dead baby bunnies.
Yeah.
There's a message board I post onto, and there's this guy from Arkansas who is a history teacher in like a really impoverished school district, who we start pointing out, hey, dude, your religion says this and your religion says that, and he just comes up with the weirdest excuses. And I mean, the guy is a psychopath, easily, and because of some of the stuff he says, and it's just like you can't get anything through to him about, you can be a Christian, dude, but maybe you ought to examine this or that part of it. Like his attitude is, hey, all those people who've never heard of God who end up in hell, well, that's just kind of regrettable. That's, it's like, dude, don't you think that, I mean, have at least the compassion to say, well, if you've never heard of God and you've lived a good life, you can go to heaven, like most people say. No, he's totally cool with people who've never heard of God and living a good life, still going to hell.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. It's pretty brutal. Yeah,
Yeah.
psychopath sounds about right. I always wondered about that with these people that get all like gleeful when they talk about, you know, the atheists and not the right Christians or whatever. Others like, oh, they're gonna burn in hell, you know. There were people I used to debate with years ago that like they would get almost right giddy when they talked about, you know, oh, you're gonna burn kind of thing. I was like, wow, that's very nice that you're so happy about that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
it's just insane.
And then they wonder why you kind of go, your religion's nasty. And they're like, oh, well, what's wrong with it? Well, you're salivating over people getting tortured forever and ever. That's, yeah, pretty fucked.
That's the whole divine command theory and the William Lane Craig bullshit, where
Yeah.
you know, where he justifies the genocide and the killing of innocent children because God thinks it's good.
Yes.
If God
Yeah.
said it, I believe it. That settles it.
Yeah.
And that's a simple way of looking. I mean, I had a laugh today. Ken Ham republished a posting he had made last year dealing with, he starts out talking about Dawkins. And this is why I can't stand apologetics, because it's nothing new. It's not like they've come up with some new idea, you know, as far as being able to defend their faith. They're just rehashing the same shit, and it's basically his whole gist comes down to, even Dawkins has admitted he can't be absolutely sure about atheism, and it comes down to they're basically, he goes, so Richard Dawkins, a man who is so certain there is no God, is not totally certain about what's going to happen to him when he dies, and yet he speaks with certainty as he tries to indoctrinate people to believe in his religion of atheism.
Oh, please.
Yeah. How many years are they going to, like, re-up that?
Forever and ever. I can tell you that now.
Same thing with Craig. He rehashed the divine. He was actually coming out with divine command theory when I was in college in '82.
I believe
how old
that.
it
is. They just kind of repackage the same shit to make people think it's new, but it's the same old crap. Because as you'll find out when I do today's creation moment, because like the Bible never changes, you know, like never ever.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just know a little bit too much about that to know that it, you know, that's a lot.
Yep.
Like for example, for the longest period of time, the tradition in Christianity was that everybody prior to the crucifixion of Jesus, no matter how good or bad they were, when they died, they went straight to hell, and it was only after Jesus died and then descended into hell that they were released. And it's like, what kind of psychopathic God would condemn people, you know, okay, we'll grant, you know, that only the people who follow the religion can go to heaven. Okay, we'll grant that. But even then, those people can't go to heaven because, you know, some dude hasn't been nailed to a tree just yet.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, wait, what? What?
Yeah, that's pretty lame ass. Ugh. Oh, Tech was saying that he likes called the Brick Bible, which is the Bible illustrated by Lego.
Yeah. That's hysterical. What's his name at ReasonCon recommended that because it's.
Oh, Joey.
No. One of the speakers, the guy who he's written Nailed. That's
you mean David Fitzgerald, who's coming on the show next week?
Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
And he's the one who pointed out that in the Old Testament, when they talk about feet, they're quite often meaning penis,
Penises, yes. So
and
I
which I
have
asked
I
him.
have a large foot water bottle here.
Well, and as I asked him when in the Q&A session, so when they talk about nailing Jesus's feet to the cross,
I remember that. I remember that was
Really?
you.
Someone made a reference to that not too long ago about the feet penis analogy.
that's
Trying to think. Trying to
one of
think
my
who it
favorite
was.
things to bring up.
We'll definitely have to talk to David about that next week then for sure, because I was hoping that he would go into some of the stuff from his talk, which was all about the sex and violence in the Bible, all the good stuff, of course.
Yeah.
So we'll be
and-
sure to talk about Ezekiel, Ashley.
Oh, yes.
And I can't remember if it's the episode I just posted or if it'll be a later episode. I'm trying to record like a bunch of Bible Myths episodes ahead of time and edit them
Right.
so I actually have some free time to do a few other things. But there's some kind of reference to feet that crops up, and it would be fun to mention that because it's one of those, you know, wiener feet issues that just makes things a little weird. Oh, and there's that Anglican hymn that the only reason I know of it because they do it in Monty Python, you know, and did those feet in ancient times walk upon England's mountain?
Oh, wow.
Hey,
So, you know, it's like, did Jesus teabag England?
Oh, man. It sure sounds like they may have. Sorry about your luck, England. Chris, I'm definitely sorry. Oh, shit. For once, it was England and not France, though, you know.
Yeah, but
Joseph
I love
got
the
off the hook.
French. I love the French. They riot over anything. You know, whereas America, we don't.
Oh, no, never. You never riot, like, ever.
Well, I mean, you know, there's recently we started rioting, but we're still way behind the French.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I mean, we even riot a couple of times, I
Yeah,
think.
but that's over hockey, which is your national religion.
Well, yes, okay. Fair enough. I mean, Beth, I bet you'd riot over hockey if you could. Maybe. Maybe not now, but yeah, I can see you.
Back in the day, yeah, especially when it was Buffalo versus Toronto.
Yeah, well, Toronto never wins anything, though.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
the old...
They had some good teams. They had Toronto. Besides the Sabres, I would have to say Toronto was one of my teams growing up. But I'm a fan of the original six, so.
Because I'm like, Toronto hasn't won anything since, like, what, the 30s or some shit? I don't know. Seriously, Tucker. Excuse me. I'm a pretty lame-ass Canadian because I don't like hockey, but I do know that much because I have a number of friends and people I've known over the years who are Leaf fans, and I'm pretty sure they haven't won anything since, like, the 30s or something. So any of you hockey fans out there that actually know, feel free to correct me, but I think it's at least that long since they've won the Stanley Cup or anything. They came close a couple of times recently, but they don't usually make it past the semifinals as far as I know. And the thing is, I don't watch any hockey, but living here, I cannot escape actually knowing what's happening with the hockey. Like, it's impossible.
Believe me, I understand. I have no interest in sports ball, but because I live in a city that has a NFL football team, I get to hear about all that crap, whether or not, you know, they do anything good or not.
Right. Yeah. Well, now
Football.
I happen to notice that every time I take a shower at your house.
Yes, you do.
It's got the giant Georgia Bulldogs shower curtain there, and the bath mat, and the toothbrush holders, and what else is there? Like everything in there is Georgia.
Towel.
Yep.
And I have
the towels.
we're kind of in mourning because Russ Oga is retiring. They're coming out with a newer version of the dog.
Oh, that's the dog. Okay.
Russ is the dog.
I'm like, who the heck?
I mean,
see, I saw that when I watched Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. I was like, there's the dog.
That was like Uga 1. We're on like Uga 11.
I mean, you know, it wasn't until years after the issue, I found out that I went to a college that had a plaque honoring the founder of the Ku Klux Klan. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very
and
nice.
it is. His name was Nathan Bedford Forrest, and today is Nathan Bedford Forrest Day in Tennessee, because we gonna celebrate people who do stupid shit like, enslave other humans and massacre them for the color of their skin.
Oh man. Well, yeah.
Thankfully, the governor, who surprisingly is a Republican, has said, if we want to do away with the state holiday, that's fine by me. I'll be more than happy to sign the bill that, into law that says this is no longer a state holiday. But it's one of things because it's like, wait, I went to that college in the 80s and 90s and they had that plaque there, and it's like, why is this here? And then now in the 21st century we're celebrating this guy? No.
Yeah. I could see, though, people being like, okay, well, not having a holiday for that person's fine, but I don't want to give up the holiday, man. Like,
well, it's not that good of a holiday. I mean, we still have they still have to go to work.
Okay, well, fuck that then. See, here we have Victoria Day in honor of Queen Victoria, which her birthday was May 24th, and so it was Victoria Day weekend. Well, it is now become known as May 24 weekend, not because it even falls on the 24th anymore, but because that's your first big weekend in the spring to go out and get a 2-4 at the cottage and get wasted. So, and they have fireworks, and I don't think anybody even, like, I'm a history nerd. I'm all about Queen Victoria. I find that shit fascinating. But, yeah, they have fireworks, and I don't think they even understand why there's fireworks anymore. It's just like, woo, we get to blow shit up and be like we're Merkin or something.
Woohoo! USA!
Well,
Canada.
it's like
No.
St. Patrick's Day holiday. Nobody really even celebrates St. Patrick anymore. It's just a holiday to go get drunk.
On green
that's
beer.
a racial stereotype. As somebody who is Irish descent, I want to protest that.
Yeah, and what did St. Patrick even do? I don't even know. Awesome.
In all seriousness, this is a crazy ass thing, but apparently the whole deal with Ireland converting to Catholicism has to do with Halley's Comet, because they theorized that a hunk of Halley's Comet broke off at about the time that the missionaries from the Catholic Church, or as it was known then, the Church, showed up in Ireland, and it was a big enough hunk that it caused environmental disasters and all this other stuff, and the missionaries were saying, see, this is proof that the world's about to end. And this was like in 800 AD or something like that. I forget the exact details, but
yeah,
that's why Ireland became Catholic, they theorized, was because a hunk of Halley's Comet broke off and smacked the earth, and it looked like the world was going to end because it was changing the climate and stuff like that. So
Wow.
that's how, St. Patrick's Day became an excuse to get drunk and arrested. Thereby
Because
conforming to a racist stereotype.
And
very nice.
to beat the bully's ass, because that's when everybody got into a fight. Looking forward to St. Patrick's Day because you get drunk, and that's the reason why you get into fights.
Wait a minute. Miss Ashley, you're telling me that Savannah, unlike Tennessee, they actually wait to a certain day to get drunk and beat the crap out of somebody?
It's called St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, and New Year's.
See, in Tennessee, we just call it Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday.
Oh shit!
We don't care about none of that stuff.
And see, up here we call it a hockey game. So there's usually 3 or 4 of those a week. Well, I think they finally finished the Stanley Cup in June or something, like just recently. I don't know.
I don't know. It's after all the ice has melted, even in Canada.
Well, it depends on...
They just had the draft for next season. And the Sabres just had basically I call it their young guns. Their draft picks had a scrimmage Friday. And they actually had 17,000 people at a game during the summertime.
Damn.
Sabres got the second draft pick overall, so everybody's all excited now. Me included.
Ooh. See, Beth's more Canadian than I am.
Well, I've lived in 2 cities that have had hockey teams. Well,
okay.
More or less. I mean, I grew up just outside of Columbus, Ohio, they've had 2 different hockey teams. There was the Columbus Owls, and I don't know what the team is now.
Well, they have the Blue Jackets now, and way back in the 70s, it was the Cleveland Barons, where the Ohio team.
Well, Columbus had the Owls because I had a cousin who used to go to their games all the time and who actually got hit by a puck at one point before they figured out, maybe we should install them glass barriers so the pucks don't go off the ice. And I live just outside of Nashville, and we've got the what are they? The Nashville. They got a saber-toothed tiger as their mascot, but they're actually not.
Yeah, they were an expansion team, and I'm drawing
Predators. That's what they are.
Yeah, the Predators.
I always thought they should call them the Saber-Tees, but because that would be kind of gangsta. But I mean, we gotta keep up that country music image here, even though most of our tourist industry doesn't have to necessarily deal with the whole country music thing. And
oh boy, I have actually been to Chattanooga once.
Did you see the trickle in the cave?
Yes, I did. In fact, the key ring that I still use today has Ruby Falls on it, and I have
Ruby Falls.
I have a lapel pin around here that has that on it somewhere too. Actually,
I've lived here about 30 years and I've never been there.
Oh man. I've actually, on my last trip, we visited the Luray Caverns for the second time for me. So and then so we went in the caverns, and I forget how deep underground those are. I could probably look it up, or when Jim listens to this, he can tell me. And then we went over 6,500 feet up in Blue Ridge Mountains to Mount Mitchell.
I don't know nothing about none of that.
But in
trailer park.
Yeah, in Chattanooga, they've got the lyrics to the Chattanooga Choo Choo written on the sidewalk downtown.
And they also have municipal internet access, which is at really high internet speeds, and I am so freaking jealous because most of the time I am lucky to get what I'm promised, let alone like a gigabyte, which is what they have in Chattanooga.
Damn, that's pretty awesome.
Mm.
So
Maybe I should
the
move
upload,
there.
he heads on over.
Mm-hmm. Well, my ex mother-in-law lives like 30 minutes from there, so I could theoretically hang out there. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if
We need
husband.
to invade the United States.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Please bring your socialized medicine and your gun control and all that other stuff.
except for Harper, you don't want him. He's no better than your people, trust me.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. As conservative as a Canadian Canadian politician can be, they're still gay compared to an American Republican like Ted Cruz or.
Yes, okay, there is that, but see, Harper's only as quote good as he is or well behaved because the big issues were decided before he got into power. And he knew he would be an idiot to do anything. Like, for instance, marriage equality and abortion were decided like eons ago. Like, even now,
Well, abortion was decided eons ago in America, and we're still fighting over it.
I see, not here. Not here. It was done and over with in like I think it was like 1988 or some shit, and that's it. Done. No. The only people that ever talk about it are the right-wing nut jobs, and nobody ever really listens to them. At least not in this province.
See, in America, we elect them.
I know.
and it's
Yes,
scary
we do.
because Australia is getting to be like America. I mean, they've.
Well, you know why? Because Australia, Abbott is kindred spirit with Harper, and now the two of them put their heads together, and they're both Commonwealth, and they can kind of go, well, hey, you got away with that, maybe I'll try that, and oh, you want to try and get away with that, maybe I'll try that too. Those two bastards get together and bad shit happens, so hopefully we will be smart and vote Harper the fuck out of there in a little over 100 days. I love this. We have an election coming up in a little, like around 100 days. I forget because nobody's talking about it yet. And no
a
one's
lot different than the United States.
and no one there's no official campaigning going on yet.
Shit, ours starts 2 years in advance.
I
Oh,
know. I know.
Easily.
I remember
Our
Go ahead.
I was just going to say our campaigning stopped 11 p.m. the day of the last election.
Yeah.
Yep. And see, the last federal election I had, I think they started campaigning, 45 days ahead of the election, and people complained that was too long.
Oh my God! Send them to America.
Trust me,
America.
I see enough American politicking to know that it goes on for fucking ever. It never stops. It's ridiculous.
That's putting it mildly.
No, we vote
Yeah.
the president, and then as soon as we vote the president, they're already campaigning for the next one.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We don't quite understand that.
We're gonna
We don't either.
we're gonna go ahead and start campaigning for the next one because we really didn't want to vote this one in, but we had no other choice.
So well, actually, too, this kind of ties in with something that Beth and I have been working on a little bit that hopefully we'll have up and running for next week. We're gonna do a bit on Canadian politics with our friend Dave from Ottawa. So that's gonna be kind of cool.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other Dave. I was like, oh my
No,
God.
no, Fuda, no. Yeah.
What I was going to add is, like, talking with Deb and talking with Dave from Ottawa and a couple other friends that I have from Canada, I came to realize Dave was posting some stuff, and I'm like, I know absolutely nothing about Canadian politics, and I consider myself fairly well informed in that area. Yeah, no. So I had just thrown out to him doing a probably a three-parter about Canadian politics, because as we were bouncing ideas back and forth, we discovered that our religious right, or as I call them, the Reich, are beginning to infiltrate Canadian politics, which is, if you follow it as I do, actually part of what they call a 10-point plan for hijacking nations, and that's where it kind of takes off on. But, you know, we have our elections every 4 years. Canada is whenever they floats their boat.
Yeah. It's seriously, it is whenever the fuck we feel like it. Or whenever the fuck the prime minister... Basically, the prime minister tries to time it so that the polls look in his or her favor, so they think they're more likely to get elected. But it can also happen for other reasons, but I'm not going to get into that because that might, you know, get into what we're going to get into later. But yeah, it's basically whenever the fuck we feel like it.
Yeah, but it's surprising though, looking at it from a very much an outsider's point of view, and I kind of knew, but it wasn't something that I would stake my life on, is that how much Canadian politics does affect us here down in the States. And one point that David made was during the recent war is we had over $74 million debt to Canada for oil.
Mm-hmm.
74, or was it billion? I don't remember. It was a lot of money. And I'm thinking,
yeah, pay up, bitches. Like, come on.
Hey, you guys have a shopping mall that has more submarines than your navy.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah, okay.
So we'd have to go borrow money from another country to pay you.
Yeah.
Well, we could just go to China and ask them.
Yeah. And I thought it was kind of odd because I had jokingly said, well, who paid it, Bush or Obama? And he goes, well, it's still being paid, but primarily it's being paid by the current administration. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that explains our $17 trillion debt. Half of it's to fucking Canada.
Damn, I wish I knew that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of idiosyncrasies in there that just really do play into our political scheme and why staying friendly with Canada is important.
So I'm going to say that in order to start paying back some of that all Canadian citizens should have free travel in the U.S. until it's paid off.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, Dave said it has been paid off.
Oh, damn.
Or it's in the process of being paid off, so it's not.
I want somebody to pay for me to go to Reason Rally next year.
He has a Patreon account, folks. It is, what is it, Deborah? It's Patreon. Patreon.com/Beyond the Trailer Park. So, yeah. I need to go to Reason Rally. For Reason Rally.
Yeah.
There was, I can remember hearing a Canadian who moved to the U.S. making comment about, you know, well, Americans don't know anything about Canada, and then I think about the countries that the U.S. does know anything about. El Salvador, Nicaragua, you know, Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, basically all these countries that we've either shipped guns to or invaded and blown up, and they're like, maybe it's better that Americans do ignore us.
Well, yeah, because if they pay too much attention, they might not take our shitty entertainers anymore, too. And I'm sure we're going to have some more in the future, so...
Hey, you guys did give us the Shat, so, you know, that is a big plus.
Yeah, well, but he still considers himself one of us, because anybody that goes back to my postings on July 1st, which was Canada Day, there was a great video I posted of William Shatner declaring that he is indeed Canadian. So, you've only sort of got him. I love that, the shot. I'm just thinking, why don't we take a quick break, and I'm going to play this week's creation moment. And I have to say, I kind of threw this together in lightning speed. It was like 3 o'clock this afternoon, then I kind of went, I think I'll do that. But it's I think you will enjoy it for sure. So let me get that queued up here. And those of you who need to do bio breaks and stuff, you got about 6.5 minutes.
Woohoo!
Yay! Of course, I can never get this going as quickly as I would like for some reason. Come on, computer.
That's because God hates you.
Of course.
Behold, the atheist's nightmare. A well-made banana is just the right shape for human mouth. Chewy, easy to digest, and it's even curved toward the face to make the whole process so much easier.
I choose to believe that the earth is young. When we do that, when we understand that creation is the truth, then we understand where all of our doctrine comes from as well.
I just want to let you know that there actually is a book out there that actually tells us where that came from. Bill, do you want to say that there is a book out there?
So next time you hear on television somebody say millions of years ago, what's the question we're going to ask them? Were you there? Were you there? Call them up on the telephone and say, excuse me, Mr. TV man, were you there? Only way we could know what happened in the past if someone was there to tell us. That's right, dinosaurs live beside people. And of course you'll have an evolutionist who'll say, that's not right, dinosaurs lived millions of years ago. What do you ask them? Were you there?
Welcome to Creation Moments, a little slice of creation silliness that I get in my email every day, and I'd like to share it with you so that we can all get a taste of just how crazy creation shit is. On this edition of Creation Moments, Taylor whines about science debunking creationism. Right. Now, where did I put my itty-bitty violin?
How often have you heard people say that the Bible must be wrong because science disagrees with it? That attitude certainly isn't new. It was common in 1932 when Dr. Harry Rimmer wrote his classic book, The Harmony of Science and Scripture. Even back then, Bible skeptics were using science to test Scripture. But, as Dr. Rimmer pointed out, when science has matured to the point of infallibility, then and only then could it be used to test Scripture.
Uh-huh. Let's take a look at Dr. Rimmer, shall we? His initial education ended in the 3rd grade. Now, that was apparently due to economic restraints and not his skills, so we'll give him that. But then, after serving in the military, he attended a homeopathic, quote, medical school, whose program he never actually completed. What the fuck is a homeopathic medical school anyway? Is that where they dilute you mind, body, and soul? But anyway, he never completed that. He claimed that this is where he got his scientific knowledge from, this homeopathic medical school. Right, seems legit, eh? Yeah. So after that, he attended a couple of Bible colleges before taking an interest in fossils and basically proclaiming himself an expert in evolution. He then became prominent among other fundamentalists and was famous for offering $100 to anyone who could prove the Bible wasn't infallible. Of course, whenever that happened, because we know the damn thing is full of shit, he declared that the challenger hadn't proven their case and refused to pay them. He was sued twice, winning once with a sympathetic judge, and the second time he won because the person suing him used an ad written by someone else besides Rimmer when he made his claim. Oh, and the doctor title? That was an honorary degree. He doesn't have a PhD in anything. If there are any fans of Red Dwarf listening, this guy totally sounds like that Rimmer. Sheesh.
To emphasize that point, he mentioned a list of 51 scientific facts published by the French Academy of Sciences in 1861, all of which contradicted some statement from Scripture. When Rimmer sat down to write his book some 70 years later, he noted that the Bible hadn't changed in all that time, but, quote, The knowledge of science has so vastly increased that there is not a living man of science today who holds one of those 51 so-called facts that were at one time advanced in refutation of the inspiration of Scripture, unquote.
Yeah, about that list, I did some looking, and some other people did some looking, and no one of late has seen that list or been able to prove it ever existed. One person even searched the Academy's archives in French and found nothing. That archive goes back to the 1600s, so something from 1861 shouldn't be impossible to find, especially if so many people claim to have since debunked that list. And Rimmer was referring to it in 1932, so where did his copy go? I smell a rat.
The modern craze to test Scripture by science reverses the natural order, he said. Quote, "We are willing to admit that where science and the Bible are in utter harmony, that agreement establishes the certainty of that science," unquote. To Dr. Rimmer, using science to test Scripture was like a 7-year-old boy telling a 70-year-old man how to grow up. How right he was. You just don't use science to test Scripture.
Okay, dumbass. You obviously don't have a fucking clue how science works. It's supposed to change, moron. If science never changed, you wouldn't be able to post this bullshit on the fucking internet even. The idea that the Bible never changes doesn't make it more right. It makes it more irrelevant. We don't need laws for owning slaves any longer. We recognize stoning people for adultery is a bad idea, and rabbits don't chew a cud. Bats are not birds, donkeys and snakes don't talk, and there's no such thing as a firmament in the fucking sky, and people do not come back from the dead. Oh, and if you think your Bible hasn't changed, you're even more off your rocker than I thought you were, Taylor. Go to BibleGateway.com and look at how many versions there are to choose from. Oh wait, you don't like science. So get out your homing pigeon and send a note to the Gideons and ask them if they have any King James Version or New International Version or any of the other bazillion versions they can send you by Pony Express. Idiot. And of course, the prayer is just as moronic. Heavenly Father, unlike science textbooks that are constantly being revised, your word never needs to be updated. Except that it has. A lot. Even the Dead Sea Scrolls proved that it had been updated way the hell back then. Ugh, I've had enough of this insanity for now. Join us again for another creation moment. Oh, there's a kitten! But I muted you all. Muted. She's still muted.
She's playing with her kitty.
Kitten! Oh, you're muted on my end, Ashley, on the Hangout. You have to unmute yourself in the Hangout.
Okay.
Oh, kitten!
I figured if I brought Sagan back, it would help you forgive me for not muting my mic.
Oh, it's fine. Aw, and we just lost Tucker. Uh-oh.
That's okay. You gained a Bobby C.
It's Bobby C. Awesome. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're good. It's always so freaky, though. We can hear you but never see you.
That's a good thing, though.
Oh, if you say so. Well, I'm sure Tucker will be back momentarily, but let's see. Where did we leave off?
We were talking about Canadian politics.
Oh, we were. Oh, here he comes. Back again.
Yes. Sorry about that. My tablet seems to have died for some mysterious reason.
Funny thing about batteries, don't do that.
Yeah, we got a Bobby C on the line here now too. He decided to come join us. So yeah, we were talking about Canadian politics, but I don't want to get too far into that because then we'll get into our segment for next week. And
yeah, I'm really interested in hearing about that because other countries' politics really intrigue me.
Well, I will say, because I've been doing, I actually did some research, because so Dave from Ottawa will mention how he gave me shit because I know more about American politics than our own politics. So I actually did some looking, because I'm the kind of, see, like I said, we do an election like a month before, that's when we campaign. So I'm the kind of person where I will go and like actually figure out who's saying what, a day or two before I go vote. Because I can do that.
She binge watches speeches for the last 2 days before election.
No, I'll go to the website and be like, oh, well, that's what so-and-so said, and that's what so-and-so said. Because the thing is, I may not be able to vote for every party that's out there, because we have a lot of parties, and part of my research that I did was looking into how many registered parties there are right now. And there are 18 registered parties currently on the federal level.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and some of them are kind of funky fun and weird and wacky. So that's part of, I think, what we'll start talking about next week is the fact that there is 18 parties that are registered currently. And there was even a list of some that are, they exist as a party, but they haven't been able to be registered. So they're not really, you couldn't vote for one, but they still kind of exist. And there's some weird ass shit in there, let me tell you. and then there's a list of ones that don't actually exist anymore too. But yeah, 18 parties. But so yeah, I actually learned some stuff just by going onto the Parliament website and looking up who's actually existing. So it's kind of cool.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask Miss Ashley a question.
Please. Fuzznuts.
Here where I live, the politicians don't put their parties on their campaign literature, but the color of their literature tells you which party they're more closely affiliated with. So if somebody has red on their literature, you know they're a Republican, and if they have blue, you know they're a Democrat. I'm wondering if it's the same way in Georgia.
We have rebel flags.
Nice.
I'll let you guess what party they represent.
Was that the dumbass party?
Yes, that would be the dumbass party.
Yeah.
No, we do have some. I will admit, we do have some politicians, especially in the counties that I live in and the surrounding counties, put the Confederate flag, and it's really going to be prominent this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and and then you have, if they're not putting the Confederate flag, they just put the American flag.
Wow, that's bizarre. I mean, I live not too far from where the Klan was founded, and I have never seen on any political flyer the Confederate flag. That's
yeah. Like I said, it's going to be really prominent this year. I mean,
so they're going to do a big old fuck you, huh?
Yes, they are. And the thing about it, we were talking about this yesterday. One of the high school that's in the county that my kids live in used to be the only high school, and it's called the Rebels. Well, when you walk into the high school, they have this big, huge Confederate flag. And I was wondering, are they going to have to take that down? Are they going to have to change their name of this school that's been, the name of this school has been like this since it existed, and the county's probably been around for over 100 years. So, that's going to be another hot topic here real soon.
Yeah. The Tennessee, we were, I hate to say we, since I'm a damned Yankee and I was born in Ohio. But Tennessee, was a Confederate state until 1862, when the Union Army invaded and occupied the state. But like the college I went to, their mascot was General Chicken Fucker or something like that. But it was, they were called the Blue Raiders.
Time out. Hold on. I have to bring this to your attention. So, Beth was boning a chicken last night.
And now we've got General Chicken Fucker.
Right. But the mascot was the General something or other, and it was for the Blue Raiders, which of course makes no sense because blue was the Union color in the Civil War, whereas the Confederates were gray. And they finally did some kind of weird cognitive dissonance thing that allows them to keep the name Blue Raiders, even though they were on the Confederate side, except for the fact that, well, they kind of got occupied really early in the war because they just surrendered and didn't have any military strategy. So it's just
they weren't French, were they? Sorry.
Hey.
Nice. My husband just set off the smoke alarm while cooking his dinner. Lovely.
Equipment issues.
Yes, equipment issues. Oh, there we go. He turned it off.
No, unlike the French, Tennessee didn't have an underground that fought the opposing forces. Occupied them.
They just kind of sat back and went, well, glad that's over.
Yeah, but I mean, since the whole issue with the shooting in Charleston, I haven't seen as much Confederate flags as one might expect for being in a southern state. I've seen a handful of them, strapped on the back of a pick-em-up truck riding around. Yep. But I haven't seen, any vocal protests by politicians or other idiots like you necessarily would expect. So that is a good sign.
That's good. Definitely good.
Oh, well, come to Georgia, baby.
No, I've been to Georgia. Atlanta's a lovely city. It just, if you're not there during rush hour, of course.
Yeah.
But if I can get out of the state, I am moving somewhere civilized.
I can tell you, Georgia's the only place that I know of on Martin Luther King Day can a man set up his truck and have a 50% off sale on Confederate flags.
Oh, jeez.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish Bobby still had his old phone because he had to take the route to drive the truck one day, and he sent me this picture. He's like, "Today is Martin Luther King Day, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Can you believe this shit?" And he sent me a picture of a man with his truck, and it said, "What, baby?"
It said Black History Month sale, 50% off all flags.
Wow.
Well. Back in 2000, thereabouts, I was working at a company, The Gap. Who are they're based out of San Francisco, really hip, progressive company. They opened a distribution center here in town, and one of my coworkers came up to me and said, and I know what town she lives in, even though I can't remember the name. And she tells me, they just cut down the N-word hanging tree, and she didn't use N-word. She actually said
the word. Yeah.
And they just cut down the N-word hanging tree. And it's like, and I mean, she's proud of this, so I give her credit for saying, hey, it's nice that they did actually chop down the tree, but the fact that it was...
You might want to rephrase that.
Well, rephrase it, and the fact that it had been up for so long. Although...
Well, now, it's not really the tree's fault, but,
No, but I believe...
partial responsibility for being there.
Well, yeah. I believe there's I haven't been able to find it recently, but I believe there's actually a famous photo of people attending a lynching at that particular tree. And that,
so that's not a tree you want to wish Happy New Year to.
No. And, gosh, what was, I used to work with a guy who married his cousin as close as the law in Tennessee would allow, and I don't remember, because they wanted to keep the last name in the family, and him and his cousin both had the same last name.
There's legal ways of doing that shit that doesn't involve fucking your cousin.
Well,
you are in Canada. We're in Tennessee and Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but let me just tell you how redneck my family is. When I was a little kid, I did think that I could marry my first cousin until I got clued into that. But
But did you think that you could marry an animal?
Oh, then I decided I wanted to marry Elvis, but he died and that didn't work. So.
But he died on his throne.
Because I thought Elvis was my dad.
Oh, no. I was 6 years old, and I saw the news report, and I said, "Oh, darn, Mom, I wanted to marry him."
I said, "Damn, Dad's dead."
Okay, I'm not that much older than you. I just want to point that out.
This will relate to all of this here in a second. But if you're of a certain age, you will remember a Bloom County cartoon, and in one, I believe it's Milo goes to his dad, and he starts talking about, this story where Elvis and Priscilla, it's Priscilla reciting her autobiography, where Priscilla talks about, we took all these pills, and Elvis dressed me up, and, then the next day I turned 13 or whatever. I just want to point out that Bloom County, apparently Berkeley Breathed has decided to bring the cartoon back.
Oh.
Which is, it's not quite as good as Calvin and Hobbes, but, it's good enough that I'll be more than happy to read it if he does it.
Very cool. Definitely.
Sorry.
But
the whole thing with the cousin and just triggered that. I mean, and that guy, he wasn't really all that bright. I mean, it was an easy job, and he had trouble doing it. And even his cousin that we work with, not the cousin he was marrying him, but a different cousin.
That's them they're working cousins as opposed to them they're marrying cousins.
Right. Even she had issues with him marrying his cousin.
We had kissing.
Yeah.
Well, kissing cousins is one thing, but marrying them and making babies.
Well, according to my grandparents, not my mother so much, because if it was my mother, she'd be had 18 kids and counting. But but according to my grandparents, if you kissed any boy, you got pregnant.
Oh,
my
I would have gotten knocked up in grade kindergarten.
My stepmother, who's from West Virginia, which is, and she's from Raynell. I've been to the town. It's not Deliverance, but you can see it from there.
I was just through West Virginia in the mountains.
Is that why it took you so long to get here?
No, we stopped there on the way back. We stayed the night there, actually, in West Virginia, oddly enough. On a mountain.
Outside on the show.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm from Canada. I just, one of those things.
But she anyway, she said that she was taught as a kid you could get pregnant from a toilet seat.
Yes.
So did she just walk around wearing a condom all the time? Like
no, those
body
didn't
condom?
exist until like the 80s or something.
So what? A chastity belt? Didn't take her pants off ever? Oh, we lost Tucker again.
No, you'd get put on restriction.
Well, you know what? While he's gone, I've got Beth did manage to do a little piece, and so Tucker, I was just saying while you were gone, Beth did a piece that unless you want to finish your sentence, and then I can play that if you remember what you were saying.
I'm too drunk to remember my sentence.
That's fine. Then we will go to Beth's piece. I actually have no idea what it is because she only got it to me right before the show. She does not have a visual, so because she doesn't have a visual, you all will get to look at a picture of my cat sticking her tongue out at you all the entire time. Because that's just how I roll. So that would be Miss Callie sticking her tongue out at you. And once I get it queued up, yeah, that's to Callie.
Oh, she's a pretty kitty.
She is. That was her expressing her displeasure at something this afternoon, and then and then I posted it on a thread of photos, so you know how much you would love that. So, all right. So here, once I get it queued up. Oh, there goes Fuzznuts.
Yeah, poor guy.
Here we go. Come on, play.
Welcome to Havoc and Chaos Live. My take on current events and various news stories I find of interest. There has been a lot of stink of late surrounding the recent bully ruling concerning sweet cakes by Melissa, the Oregon bakery that refused service to a lesbian couple. My introduction to said hyperbolic rantings by the right concerning the aftermath of said ruling came via Todd Stearns. Quote, "Shut up. Don't say another word." That's what the Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industry, bully, is telling the owners of Sweet Cakes by Melissa, a bakery owned by Christians who refused to bake a cake for a lesbian wedding. On Friday, the state ordered owners Aaron and Melissa Klein to pay $135,000 in damages to a lesbian couple they turned away in 2013. The state also slapped a gag order on the evangelical Christian bakers, banning them from speaking publicly about their refusal to participate in or bake wedding cakes for same-sex unions. This effectively strips us of our First Amendment rights, Mrs. Klein wrote on Facebook. According to the state of Oregon, we neither have freedom of religion or freedom of speech. So, 3 points are at issue. Yes, the Kleins were ordered to pay $135,000 in damages being the key word. No, the Kleins were not slapped with a gag order. And 3, no, the Klein's First Amendment rights have not been infringed upon. I'm only going to hit one issue for now for the sake of brevity. In order to understand the damages awarded, one must look at the timeline of events as a whole. So here goes. According to the bully ruling, or final order as it is termed, the timeline of events is laid out starting on page 3, and it goes to about page 21. The initial complaint was filed in 2013. In 2014, Bully commenced an investigation and found that the Kleins did indeed discriminate based on sexual orientation. At the time, Bully began a conciliation process between the two parties to see if a settlement could be reached. It was not successful, and charges were pursued by the state before an administrative law judge. But during this time period, Aaron Klein inadvertently revealed the now Bowman Criers' names and addresses. As explained by Bully, beginning on page 9, Laurel Bowman was unaware of the disclaimer on the Bully form for submitting a complaint, and that is explained in the ruling. On page 12, it continues with Bully notifying the Kleins of said complaint, with the names and address of the Bowman Criers included, which is standard. The next day, Aaron Klein published the first page of said complaint to Facebook. It was removed later in the day, but by the next day, it hit the news. It devolved from there. Now keep in mind, Bowman Criers only released one media comment via their attorney through this whole ordeal. All the subsequent media comments concerning said case came either via the Kleins, their mouthpieces, or Bully. Now, according to the Bully ruling, Aaron Klein was not the initiator of the aforementioned media interviews. That's explained on page 19. Nor did Bully feel he released the names of the Bowman Criers other than on Facebook. As Bully notes, when Aaron Klein posted to Facebook, he only had 17 friends. But, then again, the Kleins continued with their media frenzy. But according to Bully, contact was not initiated by the Kleins, although they could have declined it. That is where I think Lars Larson's influence comes into play, as well as Alliance Defending Freedom. And you all know my feelings towards ADF. I don't like them. It was not the Kleins per se that were doxing the Bowman Criers, but those on their side of the case pushing the media-driven agenda for sympathy and money for the coffers, from Franklin Graham to American Family Association. But ultimately, in my opinion, the responsibility does fall on the Kleins. They could have told them to stop, and they didn't. So, all of this factored into the awarding of damages, and it is important to keep in mind that the Bowman Criers during all this, besides not speaking to the media, they were trying to adopt their foster children, and they were told by the state officials that if you couldn't protect the foster children in your own home from the harassment that resulted from the Kleins' public posting of their home address, they were going to lose their kids. See pages 13 and 14. So why were their damages so high? According to Bully, and I quote, the Bully final order awards $60,000 in damages to Laurel Bowman Crier and $75,000 in damages to Rachel Bowman Crier for emotional suffering stemming directly from unlawful discrimination. The amounts are damages related to the harm suffered by the complainants. They are not fines or civil penalties, which are considered punitive in nature. The final order notes that non-economic damages are consistent with the agency's previous orders, such as an earlier ruling against a Ben dentist in the matter of Andrew W. Engel. In that case, Bully awarded a Christian employee $325,000 in damages for physical, mental, and emotional suffering due to religious discrimination and harassment. So basically, since the Kleins brought the case to the media's attention, Aaron's Facebook posting and the subsequent aftermath, and kept it there by repeatedly appearing in public, his and her numerous interviews, to make statements, it would be foreseeable that this attention would negatively impact the Bowman Criers, which makes the Kleins liable for any resultant emotional suffering experienced by the complainants. In all honesty, I am surprised that the damages awarded were not higher. Although the mark the award is set at, I believe, is explained quite well within the Bully ruling. Remember what I said in regards to those on their side of the case pushing the media-driven agenda for sympathy and money for their coffers? Billy Graham, Franklin Graham actually, American Family Association, even ADF to some degree. This came across my news feed late last night. It's an article by David Badash over at the New Civil Rights Movement. As it stands now, and this is summarizing, as it stands now, the Kleins have yet to pay damages, although they have raked in over $405K. Plus, there's more out there for them, in fundraising, all because they chose to break the law. In the process, they humiliated two individuals, and they put their children in harm's way. So, please tell me again what this case is all about, because I have no clue. Actually, I do. So, hopefully, if your interest wasn't already piqued in these, I call them faux religious liberty type cases, hopefully I've gently shoved you into paying attention. In the end, these cases, and others like them, have absolutely nothing to do with baking a cake or taking a photograph. To borrow from something that I have stated before, it is just this issue that Barry Lynn of the Americans United for Separation of Church and State was concerned about in regards to the Hobby Lobby. Lynn stated that the primary concern is contraceptive coverage under the ACA, which is true. But the agenda of the religious right is the right to opt out of any federal or state laws they don't like because of actual or alleged violation of their religious principles. All the legal mumbo-jumbo aside, the Kleins and the ADF are still blatantly asking to be allowed to break a law because they are special. They are asking for a special privilege because they are religionists. Even if one were to take religion out of it, they still are wanting to break the law. And guess what? We get to have this conversation all over again in a few weeks or months, as ADF has another fundraising case on the dockets as I type or speak. Although this is an appeal, and this is regarding the Colorado case of Jack Phillips. There'll be more to come on that. And now, back to the show.
Awesome. Wow, there's a lot of information there with that, for sure. And I was going to say, you're all still muted. There you are. Well, Beth's still muted, but she may have stepped away. I'm not sure. Hopefully she's still feeling okay. But yeah, it's a lot of complex stuff involved with that. But the thing that gets me is this whole, oh, we're being persecuted. And I'm like, I dare somebody to say that to me. My response will be, take your ass to Saudi Arabia and try street preaching and then tell me what persecution is.
I'm waiting on the first person to ever, because right now, I'm telling you, I remember the day that I told Bobby that he was being that he needed to teach me something good about atheism because he was just so mad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at that stage now, so I understand now where he's coming from.
Yep.
I cannot ride down the street. I see big trucks with things on it that says, "In God We Trust." I'm like, oh yeah, let me know how your God drives that truck for you. You know. Make sure
Exactly.
it's the right wheel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have some good friends who are religious and they post religious things, and it is just so tempting for me to say, you know, wait, your God cares about this but doesn't care about all the starving children or, you know, people being killed wherever else, and I don't do it because, you know, I want to keep them as friends because in spite of their religion, they're good people. you know?
Well, I had the same situation happen with with the whole Seventh-day Adventist. I've got a truck driver who's a Seventh-day Adventist. Real nice guy, you know, and he really would give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. And we were talking about when they came out with the ruling of the women not being able to be ordained as ministers in the church. And he, you know, and he posted something on his page, and instead of me blasting him like I really, really wanted to, he came into the office. I said, come on, let's go have a talk. And we were talking about it. He was like, no. He said, I don't think that it belongs in the church. And I said, I said, we're women. First off, we're not its. But, you know, he's like, okay, I don't think that women be ordained in a church. Women need to know their place. And that just kind of tilted my. This is somebody who's in charge of making his paycheck every week that he said this to, by the way.
You didn't show him where his place was between his legs or nothing, did you? Because that would be my instinct.
No, what I informed him was that there was 3 women in the office that made sure he had a paycheck every week. And, you know, he kind of changed his tone, but, you know, he was like, well, I didn't mean that. He says, what I mean is that we're supposed to love our women, and our women are supposed to respect us.
I like that. I didn't mean that because now you've pointed out that I could have no money, so I didn't mean that.
if you look at my postings on Facebook here recently, I've said I much prefer having a woman as a boss because, you know, unlike a man, a woman is not concerned about proving what size her dick is. She's more interested.
Good point.
She's more interested in getting the job done, which is what I want. I want to get the job done. I would rather have a boss, regardless of gender, who is interested in getting the job done than they are in proving, how powerful they are. And it seems to be that women are more interested in doing the job than men are.
Well, the reason that is, and because I come from a industry where it is a male-driven industry, it's because us women feel like we need to prove that we can do the same thing as a man does.
Yeah.
We can do it. I'm not going to say we can do it better. It's just that you're right. They do. They when you have a man in charge, they're like, well, I'm going to show you that I've got a bigger balls than you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you get a water bottle like this, you're in good shape.
I'm getting one of those. I'm telling you.
Seriously.
Our Pride is in September, and I swear they better have them.
The company is hardh2o.com, according to the lanyard. So.
And then I'm going to take it to work, and I'm setting it on my desk.
Woohoo!
I have a question.
Yes.
Being a straight man, I don't know about these things, and it's just kind of odd to me. And since you have the giant wiener water bottle of tube.
Yes.
It just occurs to me to ask.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, I had a female roommate, and she had gotten herself a vibrator that was she felt was too large for her. And, which I can understand. But she gave it to her friend of hers, who was female, and I'm just, and I mean, they were close. My female roommate was bisexual, so, that I don't know. It's none of my business. There could have actually been a sexual relationship between the two of them, but I just can't imagine sharing something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are ways to clean them very well.
Right. But there's an ick factor that it doesn't matter if you use you nuke the thing, you're still gonna have that ick factor in your head.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little story. Back when I was a young,
minute. I don't know if I want to hear this.
Was it when you were in your bug phase?
But no, it was when I was a teenager, and I had a boyfriend, and because we lived in small town where you couldn't sneeze without everybody and their uncle knowing, so we were not able to obtain condoms or anything at that time without everybody and their uncle knowing. Right. So actually mostly he decided that we weren't going to have intercourse because, we weren't protected and whatnot. That's fine. And I learned, because I was like 16, I learned that such a thing called a dildo existed, and wow, that might solve our issue. And mentioned it to him and all of that, and I'm thinking, maybe we can find one of these. So not long after that, we were entertaining ourselves in his room, and suddenly he produces a vibrator and says, "Hey, look what I got." And I'm like, "Sweet, where'd you get that?" He goes, "My mother's drawer." I'm like, ew. So, yeah, that did not happen. I kindly informed him that that was not the way to go about obtaining said item. I broke Tucker.
Yep, you've broken. He's
No,
done.
no. Because the friend my roommate gave her her dildo to
Yes.
was exceedingly large, and I'm not mocking women who don't fit the standard beauty model, but she just walked around one day in that trailer, in wearing her underwear, and they were SpongeBob SquarePants panties, which I mean. She's an adult.
Yeah,
It's just.
Deborah, I just want to let you know Beth's going to send you a text message. It's going to say, "Did this really happen?"
Hey! From my days of doing illicit drugs, I know never to take photographs of incriminating evidence. So don't ask me for pictures. Right.
No pics. It didn't happen.
Well, and my story happened in about 1989-ish. So, yeah, that was all film camera, and you had to really deliberately be looking to take a picture for that to happen. So,
hey, y'all had Polaroid. We all had Polaroids back then, but Miss Ashley has something that she can say Georgia is more progressive than Alabama, because in Alabama, unless you have a doctor's prescription, you're not allowed to have a dildo.
Yes, I had heard that.
Yes.
Yep.
That's so. Now I wonder how this would qualify. Are you allowed to have a penis-shaped water bottle in Alabama, though?
Yeah, given how uptight Judge Roy Moore is, and some of the other things I've heard from that state, no, you're not allowed to have that.
I should ask Zandy if that's the case, because that's unfortunately she hasn't got out to California yet. She's still stuck in Alabama, so she might know. So yeah,
no, she does know. We've had discussions about that, because there was talk. I asked him, are they going to show up at the abortion clinic that she protects with those things? And she's like, well, they're kind of illegal, and and I says, well, are you going to at least show up with a gun? And she's like, well, they want us to keep them away. And it's like, okay, I can understand that.
Actually, that would be good fundy repellent, chase them around with one of these.
Wait a minute, Deborah, don't do that again. You just don't do that
again. Tucker's really broken now. Yeah,
filmed in Wiener-Rama.
Well, Joseph and Chris told me apparently this is menacing, so I don't know.
Hey, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Beth, don't worry, I got scared too. It was coming at me.
I'm sorry, you guys, but I'm just like sitting here listening, and I'm thinking, what the flying fuck?
I was
okay.
No, it doesn't fly yet.
But they do make drones in that shape, because Putin got attacked by one about 10 years ago.
Oh shit! Oh, I need to figure out how to do that.
They need to fly one up Moore's ass, and a few other people I can think of.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? God. Could you imagine Ted Cruz running screaming down the sidewalk with one of these flying behind him?
Oh, like he'd run away from it.
I was gonna say, like he'd run, he'd bend over for it. I'm sorry.
Well, if he was in public,
Stephen Anderson.
I want to know which political party is going to pay for the blimp to be that on election day.
If I had the money, I would do it.
Well, we do have the marijuana party in Canada. So that could happen.
We have a cannabis church as well in the U.S. in Indiana, of all states. Crossing fingers, we might have someone on that's involved in that case, but yeah, it's just crazy.
Yep. I love how when I just set it down, you can just see the top. Actually, we were talking after the Holy Crap show that if I could get him, yes.
Dab.
How bad is it? No. How bad is it that it's ripped?
We were talking about putting a microphone in it.
And folks, if you were watching at the beginning of the show, you have to go. If you weren't watching at the beginning of the show, you have to go and look and see what it's like to be. What is it when? Yeah, my mind just went blank.
It has a way of
Oh,
doing
like that's unusual for you, Miss Ashley.
I know. What is it? They cut the tip of the penis off. Okay.
Circumcision.
Circumcision.
Deborah gave full diagram of what it's like to be circumcised and how you can uncircumcise yourself. Put the tip on.
Yeah, you can see because it goes up and down.
Stop.
There, seriously, there is a anti-circumcision group that tells you how to reverse your circumcision.
Yeah, it involves weights and things, if memory serves.
How do you reverse it?
You stretch.
Yeah, you stretch and you wait a year for the skin to grow. Because I had actually kind of looked at doing that to kind of play around sexually with a girlfriend of mine. And it was like a year with no sex, and I have a nice girlfriend? No, I don't think so. I mean, a year with no sex and no girlfriend? Yeah, I can do that easy, but...
I noticed Bobby hadn't said anything in a long time.
Noticed Bobby hadn't said anything in a long time?
We probably scared the poor dude away.
Look, let me tell you what he's getting, okay? He has no idea what we've been looking at. Visualize what we've been looking at. Okay, you have to come around and look at this that Deborah has, okay? I mean, this is, you have to come and look at it. And you drink from the tip. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, Deborah, put it up.
There you go, Bobby. and so you open the tip, you pull it up like that.
The tip.
Oh,
tip off.
He's ran away.
I was gonna say he ran away already.
He's run away.
Yeah, there's the. It was funny when they gave it to us. The ring was around the top because I guess so it would hang like this, and everybody's like, they put the cock ring on the wrong end.
Okay, so you're waiting on my comment.
Sure, Bobby.
Okay, now first thing I noticed was the size of that damn thing.
Yes.
And you were my hero.
Oh, thank you.
She's my hero.
But size don't matter.
Well, true. It all depends on what you're using it for, I guess.
And the only thing that I missed was seeing you drink out of it.
Well, there's not actually anything.
So do you take the whole thing in your mouth when you drink?
No. There's a hole in there.
Of course, there's a hole. There'd have to be a hole.
The funny thing is that.
So is it plastic or what is it?
It's plastic.
So hard plastic.
Yeah. Yes, hard plastic. Poor Beth.
Does it have a suction cup on the bottom of it?
No, but I'm sure you could add one. Ooh. Oh, damn, it just dribbled all over me because I
Hey, it happens when you get older, right, Bobby?
So the thing that she never wants to put in there is milk.
Yeah, well, somebody told me that that's what I really need to put in it, actually, and I got water on my phone even, too.
No, you want to go to the movie with Jurgen's hand lotion and his squirt gun.
Oh, shit. Oh, well, you know, we're actually past the end of showtime by a few minutes here. Beth's probably sighing in relief off camera. So we'll come back to her in a minute, but Bobby and Ashley, where do we find you folks?
Well, you can find me here every Monday night at 9:30.
Yes.
You can also find me on No Religion Required. We go live every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Spreaker. I can be found at No Religion Required. If you want to send me an email, you can do so at noreligionrequired@gmail.com. If you want to leave me a voicemail, you can do so at 912-388-1662. Or you can find us, you can download us at not 912. You can download us at... Would you like to finish it out, Bobby C?
Good Lord.
Wait.
Yes.
Oxymoron.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Look, short and easy. NoReligionRequired.com and NoReligionRequired.secularmediagroup.com. Or you can email her at NoReligionRequired@gmail.com. She can be found at iTunes, Stitcher, our Spreaker every Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We are live on Spreaker. Yeah, we got one.
You sound like you might have done that before once or twice.
I've
Bobby.
only done it a couple hundred times.
Yeah, I make him do it every week.
Well, I would too if I wasn't the one that had to do it every time, but you know.
Every time.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and also what she didn't tell you is that she could be found on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
Miss MS_Ashley NRR. And she also has a Facebook page, Miss Ashley of NRR on Facebook.
Oh, she did. You forgot that one for a while now, Ashley.
Yes,
Facebook
I have.
page.
Yes, I have. But we've also forgotten to mention that we also have a Beyond the Trailer Park Facebook page.
We do. We actually have a page and a group.
Yes, we do.
So the page is where we always post the show, and the group is where you can go and like chat and stuff. So yeah, there's not much going on there yet, but if people like want to join and talk and stuff, we'll definitely reply. So yeah, that's there too.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Bobby. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. And Beth, she decided to come back since I put the penis away. Where can we find you?
That penis is scary. I'm sorry. I don't think I've seen that much dick in my entire life. That being said.
Wiener.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I think I broke Deb.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Better me than you. Yeah, where do we find
enough,
you?
Thank you. Easiest place is Dune9998. That's on Twitter. That connects to both my blog and to my Facebook, which is Beth A. Hambridge. And my blog is Havoc and Chaos, and that's on Blogger. Hope to chit-chat with y'all.
Awesome. And Tucker, where do we find you? Outside the trailer park or inside the trailer park?
Well, I don't have a car, so I'm pretty much trapped in the trailer park.
Oh dear.
I'm.
But when he does, hook up his truck to his trailer.
Yeah.
I am T Park Atheist at Twitter. Occasionally, I actually tweet shit. Generally not. I am at facebook.com/trailerparkatheist, and if you type Tucker Drake into Facebook, you'll find me. And I'm somehow on Google Plus, but at the moment I can't remember. It's probably Trailer Park Atheist. But,
I think that sounds about right. I get the notifications.
I mean, who the hell pays attention to Google Plus anymore?
Oh, I kind of have to because I do Hangouts. But you have a website for the podcast too, don't you?
Darn it! Now I gotta find that.
Well, I googled atheist in the trailer park and I found it that way. So you can definitely do it that way.
But there's a thingy that I actually use for the show notes.
This is what happens when we go drinking in the trailer park.
It's just a good thing if our cousins ain't around.
Yes.
It is tparkatheist.blogspot.com.
Excellent. There we go. So definitely go and check it out. And he fell over.
Actually, no, I didn't. I'm looking for my fake cancer stick. And you can find my podcast on iTunes, etc., etc. I'm on Stitcher.
Awesome.
I'm not on Spreaker because I'm just too poor to pay for that shit.
Yeah, I hear ya. And he also posts really good show notes as well, so definitely check out Tucker. And Professor Fuzznuts, who is totally cute. I'd say he's the cutest orange boy around, but my orange boy would probably bite my ankle if I did that, so, there he is!
And if somebody wants to adopt his daddy who looks almost just like him, I will be more than happy to turn him over to him. His daddy lives outside and wanders around from trailer to trailer in the park and, mooches off all of us.
Well, we're happy to have Fuzznuts join us, too. Yay! So, of course, as Miss Ashley said, we are here every Monday at 9:30. We have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. We have a Twitter, which is @BeyondTTPark. I'm going to make a concerted effort to actually start using that because, well, it's there and I should and stuff. We even have an email address, which is beyondthetrailerpark@gmail.com. So you can always send us email and shit too, and if you want to tell me to please put the giant dick away or that kind of thing, you're more than welcome to do so. Or next time find some boobs, whatever. So please contact us there if you would like. We do, as Miss Ashley also mentioned, we have a Patreon, so patreon.com/Beyond the Trailer Park. Would love to have some more patrons there. I am actually going
the pink cock away. Donate $1.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There we go. So, yeah, Beth will really thank you for doing so. And, of course, there's my other shows, plural, which...
Please donate.
Please donate so we put the dick away. There's also mysecularsavior.com. And as I mentioned before, the new show that will be coming out next month, Atheist Apocalypse. So please check out our page, Atheist Apocalypse for Those Left Behind. And we are posting all kinds of teasers on that page, and you will find out when we get closer to the launch date when that will be launching. It's going to be awesome, folks. It's a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun doing it. It's an ensemble cast. It's not your typical podcast. It's pure entertainment, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. So please check out Atheist Apocalypse for Those Left Behind on Facebook and like our page. That would be awesome. And I will mention as well that Sunday mornings at 12:05 midnight, I do show up on a little something called Holy Crap, the Vlogcast, which can be found on YouTube and Google+. So, and that's where the aforementioned fellows who I traumatized with the penis last week reside. So it's a roving penis attack, you know. All right, folks, and next week, please join us when our friend David Fitzgerald joins us on the show, where we can talk about sex and violence in the Bible and the mythological, not so exactly real Jesus, because, you know, that's a real thing, right? And he'll be joining us. I know. as real as, you know, the pink unicorn under my bed, right?
Exactamundo.
Penis.
Yep. Yes, and I actually have drawers under my bed. You can't actually fit anything under there because the cats have tried, trust me. So, folks, until next week then, please come back and join us, and I will leave you, as always, with our friend Foda's Humanist Creed, and I will just say that Foda had a birthday yesterday, actually, which he tried to hide from everyone, but was kind of unsuccessful in doing so. So even though I know you never listen to anyone's podcast, Foda, because he said, I don't listen to yours or anyone else's unless I'm on it, but, you know. So I will leave you, as always, with the Humanist Creed. As soon as it decides to play.
I know the truth and power of reason and of rational thinking, and I will use them to my advantage. I know the truth and power of educating myself and of expanding my intellectual boundaries, and I will educate myself. I know the truth and power of vanquishing ignorance, and I will do so whenever the opportunity presents itself. I know the truth and power of morality without supervision, and of true and accurate righteousness. I know the truth and power of obliterating tyranny, be it intellectual, emotional, or philosophical, and will work toward that goal whenever and however possible. I know the truth and power of human ingenuity. I know the truth and power of human compassion, and I will be mindful of the welfare of others. I know the truth and power of equality and fairness for all living things. I know the truth and power of the importance of our families, our friends, and our fellow men and women. I know the truth and power of human stewardship of our lands, our waters, and our skies, and I will try to act to preserve our environment. I know the truth and power of the sciences of mathematics, of physics, and of chemistry, and of the important role of these disciplines in understanding the workings of this cosmos. I know the truth and power of the rejection of all notions or beliefs that reside in the supernatural or the superstitious, and of those notions or beliefs that we are not supposed to be able to explain. And I know that these rejections are necessary for humankind's survival. I am a human being with a free mind, liberated from irrational influence and from unreasonable dogma.